Welcome to Austin, man.
Cause we Austin, Texas, marching, stepping, hands on our weapons, cause boys be flexing. Kelly in the game like a pin 'em off the chain. These boys are hard to tame, can't do nothing love it, man. Cause we Austin, Texas, marching, stepping, hands on our weapons, cause boys be flexing. Kelly in the game like a pin 'em off the chain. These boys are hard to tame, can't do nothing love it, man. Well, I be crouching while in Austin and them boys gon' hate. Some boys be popping trunk, but I be popping tailgates. The trophy truck, shit no book, I'm about to get loose.
What's up, world? This is Albert Rideau, a.k.a. Mad Creole, for the Austin Icons podcast. My guest today is my sister from another miss. Man, this woman is a legend in hip-hop culture. She is a hip-hop pioneer as well as an Austin hip-hop pioneer. She is a legendary dancer, choreographer, teacher, manager, videographer, director. And also, she's also my old manager. Welcome to the show, CrazyCee, from CrazyCee Productions, Carlena Gourdine.
Hello,
What's
everyone.
up?
What's up? This is me, the one and only CrazyCee. It's the place to be.
I know that's right. Here we go, man. I had to get you on here because the obvious connections to Austin, but we're gonna start from the beginning. Like, where are you from originally, and like exactly where you're from, and then we'll get into how you started and all that good stuff. But where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Brooklyn, born in Jamaica. I'm born in Brooklyn, raised in Jamaica, Queens. So I'm a BQE girl. So that's both boroughs in New York.
Oh man, are you the only one? Well, I know the answer to these questions, but I'm gonna, for the audience that don't know. So, musical family. Do you have any other people in your family that do music besides yourself or dance?
So many. First of all, my father, he used to DJ back in the day in the city, in Studio 54 and all these different clubs my father used to DJ at. And then my brother sang, my sister sang, my other brother sang. So it was a whole family thing. But then, I have actors in my family. Well, Little Anthony and the Imperials, that's my cousin. He sings, as you know.
Okay.
Earth Angel and all of that. I see that I got a lot of actors in my family, too, on my mother's side and my father's side. So it's quite a few, in the family.
Well, now, I got to
I
ask
have
the next
a-
question, which
I'm
is,
thinking
when
about
did
it.
you start dancing?
Ooh, when I came out the womb. That's a regular thing.
So, was it just something that, did something happen? You just like, one day you just was out and then boom, you just started going at it, or you just...
My mother always told me that I was doing stuff in the crib, but I didn't know exactly what. But my sister used to challenge me at the age of like 3, 4, and 5 to dance anywhere I was. Like, go Lena, and I'll be like, yeah. I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew that it felt good.
Okay. So when let's say by the time you turned, by a teenager? When did you start professionally, like getting into dancing and or choreographing, or, in that mindset?
The first, back then we didn't know what it was called. Remember that. So
Right.
We didn't know that was putting things together in the order in which it's placed as choreography. We just knew that we were good at it. Just like singing. You just knew it was second nature. So for me,
Right.
It was like, I was probably the first dance piece I did, I was 6. And I did it by myself.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the next one, I started being asked to do all the school talent shows. And so I would do them, but they would always say, let her do it. She can do it. And I'm like, well, why? And it was like I could put things together, and I foresee how to count it and all of that, and I was still little, So I started there between the age of 5 and 9 doing that. And then my first
So paint the scene for me in New York at that time in Queens. What was it? What did it look like? The people that you were around, and the music and everything at that time frame.
Okay, well, it looked, all the rappers today that we grew up with, they was just around the neighborhood, rapping on the block or dancing on the block, or all the boys used to play in the handball court. And they used to like dance out there with their big radio boom boxes. So we would just be out there hanging out, and I would want to be because I was the youngest. So my brother and sisters used to be like, "Go home," and I'd be like, "No." So I'm looking out the window trying to see what's going on. When I was 9 years old, my brother had took me to what they call I guess the park jams, what they call it. Everybody got the DJ sneak out there and steal electricity
Mm.
with the biggest speakers and stuff. Well, my brother took me out there with him because he was going to meet a girl or something, and he had to use me as an excuse. So he took me
Ah.
to go with him because my mother was like, take her to the store because he wasn't going to no store. So he took me to the park to meet this girl. He was trying to impress her. So he went over by the DJs and started acting like he knew the DJ, right?
Okay.
And when he did that, I couldn't see what was going on, so he put me on his shoulders. And he said, look. And when I looked down, I saw these guys spinning around on a cardboard. And I was like,
Okay.
wait, what? I didn't know what they were doing. I just know that it just started looking fly to me. Like everything about it was like, I need to know how they did that. And then they was backflipping and doing all types of stuff. So it kind of reminded me of the circus a little bit. And then I was looking
Right.
like, So when my brother was like talking to the girl, I ran back over to the crowd. And I saw them doing stuff with their bodies. And I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is what I want to do right here. Right from that moment. So after that, I was home tearing up my room. And my mother kept asking me, what was I doing in there? Rearranging furniture. I was trying to stand on my head. I was trying to walk on my hands. I was trying to do this between the age of 9 and 10. I was catching wreck in my bedroom. So,
Oh man, that's crazy. So who was in your neighborhood, like around you, that we would like famous people, I guess you would say, besides yourself, in that time frame? Like who was like your neighbors and people you went to school with?
neighbors was a group that they know. Well, a lot of new school people won't know them, but they were a group called Frickin' Frats. They were like first female group MCs. They lived on my block, like right there on 105. Um,
Gotcha.
then there was Salt and Pepper, as they know, Salt and Pepper.
Yeah.
They lived around there. They all worked in Jamaica Avenue, which is where everybody got a job at the call center back when they got out of school. So that was like a big thing
Gotcha.
to do. But I was always the youngest. But I would always be out there, and they would always be around the way at the handball courts, rapping and dancing and singing and stuff like that. So Roxanne Shante, um, let me see, all these different people grew up because she was from Queensbridge, but I used to go out there a lot because I had a lot of cousins
Mm.
that lived there. So I didn't even know when you're in it, you don't realize you're in it. Like you just live there.
Right.
So it
Right.
was like it was so much that I didn't realize that I knew growing up. And then
Yeah.
and then my god sister, her aunt was dating Dougie Fresh back then. Well, y'all know him
Gotcha.
as Dougie Fresh. So
Yeah.
she was dating him, so she had his first born, right? And
Okay.
and then my sister was best friends with MC Light. So
Gotcha.
they all of this was around me. But again, I still
Mm.
didn't, think
Right.
of
It's
anything
just
as
normal.
normal. Right. And then like I used to watch this guy doing arts all the time around my way. Outside, he used to be
Mm.
bugged out on top of a building, just like kicking and fighting the air. And that intrigued me
Okay.
too. So I had
Okay.
enrolled in martial arts at 9 years old because I wanted
Oh wow.
to. Yeah. So my dad was, always doing martial arts. Like he had everybody doing it. So I started doing it because of the dance aspect of it. Like I was like, oh man, look at the things that you could do once you learn patience and you learn training and proper breathing and all this. So it just really intensely caught me at that age as a little girl.
Right.
So when I did performances, I wasn't. All the other little girls was, trying to do the little girly thing, and I was trying to do what popping was, what I thought it was.
Right.
And I was trying to do like locking, but that came from California. So it wasn't like in
Yeah.
New York, it wasn't a popular thing. So it wasn't really it was popping. It was popular, yeah, because it's like a street aspect of breakdancing. So it was
Yeah.
really like a way to release your battling. Like I'm dope, I'm fly. Look at me, blah 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 blah. I hit every beat, type of thing. So I just knew that I needed to learn that. I knew that
Right.
that right there was something I needed to learn. Now, what you didn't know was that once I got older, between 12 and 15, my mother wanted me to focus on singing.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so she had me in all these choirs and stuff like that. When I got older and left home as a teenager, I joined a singing group. I joined
Mm-hmm.
a gospel group, and we toured around. Then I joined a four girl singing group. So joining that group, they kept asking me to choreograph everything in the group. So
Okay.
I'm singing and choreographing, and because I had a voice that I could mimic things that I hear, sounds that I hear, that they had me doing alto and then ad libbing on soprano with the girls that was doing it, and then I would do the background vocals, and then it was getting ridiculous. So it
Got
was
you.
so we had an older manager we used to practice with in Manhattan, and we did a couple of shows. We wrote like two songs, and it just started being like I started getting withdrawn because
Mm.
I'm a person that I believe in team work that makes the dream work. But if all the team
Yeah.
ain't into it and they all got different concepts and reasons they're doing it, it's not gonna mesh. So for me, I didn't
Right.
like the man trying to guide me in a way, but he never sang a note. But I'm sitting there going, why do you keep telling me something you don't do though? I'm confused
Right.
because you should be able to train me in what you're saying I should be able to do. That makes for me, I would challenge everything. So I knew it wasn't the direction for me. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So
So by the time you got to be like out of high school or close to out of high school, when did you start? When did you get your big break? Like when did you start really like getting like go pro with it?
okay. So let me tell you the bad, because a lot of people don't know the bad part of the industry, the bad, or everything I dealt with
Mm.
before I got my big break. I
Right.
knew what I wanted to do. My first performance on television, I was 15, and I did I Believe in Children Are the Future, and I performed in
Okay.
a show called Real World back then. It was, I
Yeah.
mean, Real People. It was called Real People. It was
Real
a TV
people.
show
Yeah.
called Real People. They would highlight people and their talent. Well, we performed in Central Park, and Real
Okay.
People came and caught the performance, and I was happened to be the soloist of the performance. And so I got the interview. So they were telling me after that I needed to get an agent. My parents wasn't with that. You know how it is growing up back then. Oh, stick your head in
Yeah.
the book. You don't need to be worried about. You don't need to be
You
worried
need to
about the industry.
graduate.
There you go. Ain't nobody talking about no industry. Blah, blah. So I couldn't get them to sign on for nothing. So I was like, you know
None of
what?
that.
When I turn 18, I'm doing it. That's what I was thinking. And then
Right.
I had left to live with my sister, and I started working in a music center. And that's when I took a
Mm.
major liking to playing the drums. So I started playing the drums ridiculously as a teen. So when I would play, it would draw a lot of attention in the music center. And they would be looking at me like, why don't you play with a band? And I was like, again, I don't know. I might want to do that. And then when I went and did it, what I didn't like about it again was, okay, it's a group mesh thing, but if one person don't
Right.
show up, everything's off.
That's
and
right.
and they kept fighting each other. The piano players fighting this. They don't like the time. It was just too much that I felt like a
Yes.
yo-yo in. Right. So I would sometimes it would be me there playing the drums for the singer, but there's nobody else that showed up because they was mad at each other. So at the end of the day, it was like not my thing to do. So
Right.
I was probably 17, 16, 17.
Okay.
And then when I turned about when I let me see 17, 18, I said that's I wasn't in New York. So I said I'm gonna
Mm.
go back to New York and I'm gonna go start auditioning.
Mm.
Well, it wasn't that easy because I
Nah.
didn't know. that unfortunately, not only is it not that easy for women, it's not that easy for women of color. So I
Yeah.
wasn't aware of. I mean, I know racism. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that I thought talent surpassed it, and I didn't realize
Right.
that. See, we didn't have social media, which social media is what makes everybody great right now. It's just a click or a like, and then everybody thinks there's something. We had to actually work for everything we've gotten or done. So when I went to audition, the doors was closing in my face before I even got to audition. I would walk up the stairs and they would say, Jack, and I didn't even get to the room yet. It was I didn't pass the paper bag test. But I didn't know that. I didn't know because they won't come out and say
Mm.
it because you could sue. So they don't want to come out and
Yeah.
say it, but behind closed doors they're saying it.
Right.
And until I went on the other side of the scope, that's when I saw what it really was. But then I was
Right.
still thinking maybe I'm dressed wrong. So I would change my outfit.
Mm.
I would change my hair. I would come in and then they would tell me I don't look like a grown up. I look like a little kid. So that
Mm.
is when I met right. And so that right there, I was like, okay, I'm gonna give up. I'm gonna pause for a minute. Then I came back
Mm.
and I started working like all these jobs so that I could pay for these auditions and so that I could get me a manager or something. So at 19
Right.
years old, I went to audition. Same thing. It was even worse then. It was
Mm.
like blatantly like, lift up your shirt, show me your butt, show me your stomach. What?
Wow.
They didn't even care if I could sing or dance or act or nothing. I went,
Wow.
I
That's
got
crazy.
flown out. I got flown out to Austin. The first time I ever landed in Austin, I was a teen. I got flown
Mm.
out for an audition to fly from Austin to California. The person that was doing the movie at the time was in Austin, but he needed a dark skinned girl who could sing and dance. And they asked
Mm.
me to sing Anita Baker, and they asked me to dance. It was the worst experience of my life because I was in the room with a bunch of white people that didn't know what I was doing anyway. So I'm gonna be keeping
Mm.
real. It was just like they was looking at me like smiling, but you know, I'm going, what is this
Yeah.
mean exactly? Am I good or
Right.
bad? Like I don't know. It was like the right fit. It took me back to Hollywood Shuffle. So you remember Hollywood
Oh
Shuffle
yeah.
with
Yeah.
Robert Townsend? You remember when they went to
Yeah.
audition and they had to act like they was in the
Yeah.
poster, but they had to act like a pimp or a prostitute? That's how I felt. Like I was like, what do y'all want me to do now? So I declined the offer. Then I went
Right.
back to New York. Right. Once I turned 21, I was determined. I said, this is it. I'm done. So I was walking through a door of a mall, and the guy was looking at me, and he said, I'm sorry, I'm staring at you. Can you go back through that door again? And I was like, what? And he said, can you walk back through that door again? It's just so much attitude when you walk through the door. And I'm like, this dude is crazy. He said, I'm sorry, let me give you my card. And he gave me his card. I was like, okay, this is a scam. You know, he gave me a card and said that he was
Right.
a manager. He worked with a big show, and he think I would fit. And if I come down to the audition, and I was like, nope, nope, nope. I came down to the audition. It was real. That's where I met Spike Lee at, and he asked me
Got you.
to do some fill-ins in the movie. And I was like, but he said the only thing is in the movie you got to play a 16-year-old. I was 21, so I was like, what? You know, so it really caught me off guard. Like, God, now I gotta pay a 16-year-old. So I did that. He was like, I got a lot of
Wow.
things for you. And then he asked me to work on a movie called I Like It Like That. And
Okay.
I worked with the Barrio Boys and Carlena, the singer that passed away, that got murdered.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I worked with the Barrio Boys, the Barrio Boys. So I worked with
The
them.
Audio Boys.
So I worked with them, and they was doing like a remix song. And so I was like, wow. And then I started meeting K7 and all these like Latin artists. So I was like,
Mm.
okay, I'm meeting them and going around with them. Then I used to work at clubs in Manhattan. So I used to
Okay.
headline. So any artist they had come, they would ask us to dance behind the artist. So Not only that, back then go-go dancing was the cubes that they put in the clubs like the boxes, and dancers dance on
Yeah.
top with like, boots or graffiti clothes or whatever like that. So they would ask
Yeah.
us to dance in the club, and they would pay us to make appearances in different clubs in the city. So I was a featured dancer. So they would have me going to like this club called 20 West, Deco's, Limelight. Oh my God, so many different clubs that I did that in the city.
Mm.
So that's when I was seen by a guy videotaping. He was videotaping me from the top when I was dancing, and he came down, and then another man came down, and they both said hi. I just want to tell you, you are dope. Like what you did up there is dope. Take my car. There's auditions tomorrow in the city. Won't you come? I was like, for what? He was like, for MTV. I said, I'm sorry, I auditioned for this flight. They wanted to see me. He said, what did you just say? I said, I auditioned for this flight. He said, you gotta be kidding me. I said, yeah, they wanted to see me. He said, come tomorrow, and I guarantee it. I did not know it was the host of the show because I never watched him.
Oh,
So I didn't know it was the
right.
host of the show. I thought it was just a guy talking to me trying to frame
Right.
something. So I was like, what is going on? So I was like, all right. I told my friend, I said, you know what? This is my last straw here. I'm going to go. Well, I went, and the line was wrapped for 5 blocks. Like, I'm not kidding you. I was like, there's no way I'm going to, by the time I get up to the door, it's going to be like, we're done for the day. So I
Right.
said, before I leave, I'm going to walk up to the glass, to the front. So I walked all the way up to the building. And by the time I got up to MTV office, the building, I think it's 1515 Broadway. By the time I got up there, he was passing by with his bodyguards and managers and all that. And he saw me from the door. And he said, let her in. And I was like, huh? So it caught me up. Like, he was serious. And he said, nope, I told y'all something. I had somebody. I was hoping she came. And I came in, and they was like, all right. He said, listen, put the music on. Put some Biggie on. Put something. Put it on. He said, you do what you did, what I saw you do up there. And I was like, okay. And back then I used to break dance and stuff too. So I said, all right. I started dancing. And before I turned around, him and some guy was running, picking me up in the air. They made me stop. They said, enough. Why wasn't she casted? And I was like,
Wow.
huh? You know, what? And they were like, why wasn't she casted? They needed them to say why I wasn't casted. Right.
Right.
And from there, it was history. Like after that, then I got featured on the show, and I had a lot of hateration, of course, because they didn't like that I was getting a lot of camera time, and like
Mm.
the cameraman was following me around, like, you ready, and I'm like, huh? So it was just one of the things.
Was there a lot of female dancers back then? Like, was it, or was it just a small? Because on camera you only see one or two. Back, how that is. But was it a lot of dancers like that? Like that were really good?
A lot of females. Let's say this: there was a lot of females that could dance. I didn't say they could. I
Okay.
said they danced. So it was a lot of
Right.
females that image was more important than the dance. All they had to do was move
Wow.
around a little bit, shake it a little bit, and they angle the camera the way they need to, and then they edit it. But it was nobody that could actually dance like me all the way through. Like they was like,
Right. That's what I
wait
was
a
asking.
minute, she on to something. So I had a
Yeah.
lot of blowback because I was asked to choreograph. They was debating, but they wanted me to choreograph the first street dance routine on MTV, which we were banned from. They couldn't even play rap music until the year I came. It wasn't allowed to.
Right. That's right. That's
So
right.
they did because of me. So they wasn't allowed to. So at the end of the day, they said, okay, well, we're gonna play on MTV. They're gonna play what was it? Oh, they wanted me to dance to Big E or something like that. They said no. They didn't want that on the show. So they
Whoa.
debated. They kept going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. They came to me, and the song that I danced to, which I have the video, which I'll make sure I give to you, and you'll actually see the first performance I ever did on MTV. I have it. A
Yeah.
fan sent it to me recently. So I was like, oh my god! I
Oh,
was like, is
cool.
this you? So
See, that's awesome.
right. So I got the full performance, And I got them talking like, you watch MTV? She was like, this is Carlena. That's the way she called my name, Carlena. She said, y'all know her better than I do, from the city. So I got to perform to Mary J. Blige's Be Happy. That was the closest they was
Gotcha.
giving us to hip hop at that time. So I
Mm.
got to dance to that. I got to choreograph that. And also with scarves and stuff like that and baggy pants and stuff like that. So that was like a monumental moment for me on there, but it
Yeah.
wasn't the end all be all. Then I had auditioned for Def Comedy Jam.
Right.
And at the time that I had auditioned for Def Comedy Jam, I had auditioned for Coca Cola and I had auditioned for um Coca Cola was one of the big ones because I auditioned when Tyrese auditioned for Coca Cola. That's how he got
Okay.
his start. And I
Yeah.
had auditioned and I got a call back and it was between me, Lauren Hill, and Regina King for the commercial.
Oh, whoa.
Out of all them people that was there, when I came back, it was just us. I was like, wait, what? So it was.
Wow.
So my manager was sitting, my agent at the time. He was amped about me doing it.
Mm.
Then they called me back and told me to stand still because because my audition made them laugh. Like they were cracking up at my audition, and it was
Mm.
supposed to be the commercial is out here. The commercial is out, of course, because I turned it down because Russell called me.
Yeah.
And when I got that call, I felt like that would lead to so much more than one commercial
Right.
and residuals. It would lead to a career because I was just starting.
Correct.
So the fact that I got that call, I said, I'm going to go there. And, everybody felt I was making a foolish decision because they wanted me to be acting and I didn't want to act. But that's what they wanted me to
Right.
be doing. And I was like, oh my God, these people keep asking me to act. That's not the career I want. So I did the Russell Simmons thing, the Def Comedy Jam, which
Now
led
hold
to
up. With Def Comedy, hold on, so that people know this because they don't they gonna be go, oh, Def Comedy Jam. Okay, y'all, if people that watch Def Comedy Jam, if you watched it back in the day or if you watching the reruns and all that, they have the dancers that come out and they just going at it. And I remember before I knew you, I was sitting there looking at the women that would dance. It was only like one you, and it was like maybe somebody else, but man, he was going the hell off. I mean, those dancers were awesome. I mean, they were the best dancers you ever see. I mean, they was doing some stuff on stage. It was crazy, man. They was jumping and landing on their back and coming back up and splitting and doing all. It was crazy. Yeah, and later I saw you. I was looking at it. I was like, oh my God. I said, CC doing it. I said, oh my God. But you was so energetic and like just. Oh man, you was just moving to the. All the dancers were great, but man, you was just on one. I was like, wow, it's a powerful performance.
that was, and then I was doing. It was funny because I came back to work at MTV and they changed the whole casting department. They changed the whole staffing, so it
Yeah.
became women, and it wasn't just a diverse bunch. It was a bunch of women. So
Oh.
as
Okay.
soon as I walked through the door, I was a target because I was very popular. So I was a target, and they instantly said, "Where is Cece and her dancers?" And I was
Yeah.
like, "Wow, that's what they're doing now. They calling them my dancers, even though they were my dancers, but they didn't on the
Right.
show. Like, come on." So they was like, "Where is Cece and her dancers?" And I came to the forefront, and when I walked to the forefront, the girl said, "Well, you know how y'all wear the same? You got them wearing the same outfit. That stops now." You know how you have y'all doing choreography? It stops now. I'm like, what are you talking about? We freestyle. But I was looking at them like,
Whoa.
yo, y'all targeting me. And it's funny because I'm the only of color. I get it. So you go with, they was going hard. And as they was going hard, I was removing all my stuff, taking my badge. And I was walking to the dressing room. And they was like, what are you doing? I said, I'm good. And that is when I decided to launch Crazy C Productions.
Say I'm good.
Yep, that's when I decided to launch Crazy C Productions from there because I felt so
Okay.
disrespected. I'm
Right.
like, wow,
Right.
this is really this is the most disrespected. I mean, like, I didn't even walk through the door and y'all screaming my name like I did something wrong. And instead, you just want to separate me. Oh, you're going to be individualized. And I'm like, okay. You know, they didn't want me to make them my brand. You know what I mean? Part of my
Right.
brand. So,
Wow, that's crazy. So that's when you cut. What year? What years was that when you were on MTV and when you kind of cut that loose and BET? I mean Def Comedy Jam.
yeah, I did stuff on there too. But Def Comedy
Yeah.
Jam was, Def Comedy Jam was, that was between 94 and 95.
Gotcha.
94, 95, and 90, yeah, 94, 90, 94 to 96, like in between there. I was,
Were you already shooting videos? Because I know you were choreographing for video. You were doing videos too by that time for artists. What artists did you do videos for back then? It was like singing groups and stuff like that.
I did a lot of record label performances and radio, you know, when you do radio stations, like Hot 97 and all of that in New York, you do the
Mm.
artists that are on the roster. Like whatever they have, then you get to work with them a little and you do that. Not let's say hire out dancers. But other than that, they'll be like, you go dance with them, you go dance with them. Like I did music videos with like well my first music video I did. Well, you know, I did a music video when I was 15 with Biz Markie, but
Okay. Okay.
but then I did, and that was in the Coliseum when they didn't know how to
Mm.
shoot music video. That was the worst video I ever did in my life. But it was, but I did that, and then I did oh goodness, I did I did a lot of reggae artists. So I did
Okay.
music videos for like Dawn Penn, Shabba Ranks, uh,
Yeah. I
my
like
God,
that one.
right. I did wait, it was so many different ones.
What was the dance group?
Which
It
one?
wasn't Today, was it? It was
No, you
a
talking
different
about
group.
well, one of them was in the singing group and then started his own singing group. And then he started
Yeah.
doing 911. He called himself 911. Well, with their single they came out with, they came from Rex and Effect. And Rex and Effect
Yeah.
was with um what's his name? What's his name for Rex and Effect?
Shoot.
Uh,
Ooh, I can't think. I know Teddy Riley and
yeah,
all them
yeah.
were
Teddy
part of it.
Riley
Yeah.
did the whole. He put I Kill on the album with the guy from, I think he was in the group today, but he started his own thing, and I started working with them
Yeah.
because
Shout
they were
out
like
to the
individual.
group Today.
Right, they was
One of
individual
my
artists.
favorite groups.
Right, and a lot of them was individual artists, and they always wanted to be individual artists, but they made them a group, and that's what they did to me.
Right.
They forced me to be in a group, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that, you know. And it was like, I guess it kills a lot of people's dreams because they wanted to be individual singers, but they put
Right.
you with four other guys you don't even know. And so y'all supposed to
Gotcha.
mesh together, and then one always ends up having a drug problem. You know, it's always something. It's the truth, or sex addiction, or something. You know,
Hey, Eddie Kane Jr. syndrome, huh?
right, right. So it was like that. I worked with a lot of house artists, in house
Mm.
music, because I used to do the clubs and stuff. So I worked with
Right.
all of them. I mean, like a lot of them, Jesus. Like you know. And I did like Michael Watford, different, just different. Actually, I was working with a guy named Charles McDougall, who headed all of the house music back then, and he
Mm.
started to make a
Okay.
movie about it. And I was working with him on the movie set of that too. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's a lot of different artists.
So then it is. So what happened after, let's say what you said 94, so let's say 95, 96 ish. Where was you headed from that point? What was the next step?
I was doing like again. MTV started taking us on tour.
Okay.
Yeah, and we started doing that. Matter of fact, I did when EPMD was going through their fight. I did a movie with him and Scrap. I mean, a video with him and Scrap. With
Mm.
they were. I didn't even know they didn't like care for each other because you couldn't tell by the performance. Again, a group that's put
Right.
together. You know, and nobody pays attention to that. But it was beef there. And so I did videos with them, and I started doing I started really pushing toward my own company, like trying to trying to be the middleman in between because nobody screamed the talent they brought in. You know, I could tell you
Right.
nightmare stories about music videos. I could tell you nightmare stories before there was video vixens. I guess that's what we were because we used to do all the music
Right.
videos. So it was nightmares on its set. It was so much drama at every shoot. Like it was always something. So I learned to stay away from that because I was like, this is
Right.
not what I came here for. I don't know why would you
Right.
offer me alcohol or dance? Like why would you? So for me, I questioned everything. So they ain't like that, you know. So they always like, well, let her sit in the director's chair since she ain't doing. And then it was a joke, and then it became real. Because then they started going, no, for real.
Ah.
Like, no, for real, we really want you to sit over it. Like, we really want you to sit behind the thing and tell us what you think. And I was like, huh? So they started asking me what I think. And the dancer started getting
Right.
mad at me, like, why is she over there? You know, oh, you must be sleeping with. No, what? No, I'm not. You know, so it caused a lot of friction. So I said, you know, I have to reinvent myself because I have more skills than these girls. And, you know, I didn't
Right.
realize that they were just that easy. You give them a spotlight and a camera and they drop and draws. And I'm like, wait, really?
Right.
You know, I was like, is that easy? Jesus. So, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
back
it.
then.
Yeah, it was definitely that easy. So,
It was crazy back then.
right,
It was it was a little wild. Let's just put it that way.
right.
We, no, them stories need to stay where they are because it was some wild, crazy ass people back then, man. Them girls was wilding out, man. Some of them video people, man, they was tripping.
It was a time.
Yeah. So from that point, where did you go from that point? Like where we gonna fast forward a little bit. So now from that point, where did you end up going?
I ended up going out to California for a little while, seeing the scene
Okay.
out there, because I really wanted to practice out there. I really wanted to learn their
Mm.
style. They had a style individually called cartooning that I was really
Yeah.
interested in, and then they had the whacking, and then they had the locking, and then they had the boogaloo, and I really love boogaloo. So I wanted to be out
Yeah.
there, so I kept going out there and then they kept asking me to perform with artists. So I was performing with when I first came to Sixth Street in Austin, it was '96, and I was performing with Shabba Ranks in a club where they had a Jamaican night, and they had
Okay.
him, yeah, and I was performing, and I met the club owner from there, and I'm going to ask you and see how well you remember, but the club name wasn't it Catfish Station?
Yes. If that is, it was a catfish station. Yes.
That's the club I was performing
Okay.
back
Yeah.
then.
That was down on 6th Street. Yeah.
Yep.
And it was in Atlanta. Shout out to Catfish Station owner.
Yeah, and I was down there, and we did. They had like a Jamaican type of thing, and I was performing there, and I met the owner, and he was like, "I would love to have you come back here." Like, I was like, "What?" You know. So I had talked to the producers at MTV, and they were like, "Really? You want to do a casting out there?" And I was like, "I want to do a concert out there." And
Mm.
then they didn't offer enough money, so
Yeah.
that's when I spoke to Russell, and he was like, let's do it. And I
Right.
went out there, and that's when I was featured in the Statesman, the Austin Statesman, and they had me on the
Right.
second page, a whole big outline of the big casting call I'm doing there at it was not Palmer Auditorium, but the other one. Uh,
Oh yeah.
Austin.
I can't
Wait,
remember
what
the
was it
name
called
of
again?
the.
It
I
was
can't remember the name of the other auditorium that we used to have because all of them
yeah,
are knocked down now.
right, and that's why I can't. Oh my God, when that's where I held the first casting call out there, and I did
Yeah.
that. That was wrapped around the corner, and I had like um the first concert I launched out there before Steve Harvey was a small comedy show because I was bringing people from BET Comic. It was Comic View, right? BET.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was bringing those comedians there, and um, right because I met you like right after that, like
Right.
little right after that, like it was like
Yeah.
because that's when Mark from Cats's Belly in New York opened Top of the Mark, right?
That's right.
And had asked me to
Yeah, man.
do And he had asked me to
Okay.
partner with him to do comedy shows and put together shows because he didn't know what to do with the upstairs part.
Right.
And that's when we launched it with you because
Yeah.
he didn't
Yeah.
have anything going on there at that time. But
Yeah, I remember. I remember them days. I
right,
remember you. I remember that first time I seen you. You was a drill sergeant. You was teaching some little girls how to. You had like a some teen girls doing a routine, and you remind me of my mom because my mom, she was, Tina Turner, Ike Turner, that kind of time frame where she was, she was rough on me like that. So you was up there just the show was over. It looked good, but then everybody else is leaving, walking out, and you like on one. You did this. You did. You need to. No, you turn around. We're gonna work on it again when everybody gone. I'm like, ooh. I said, ooh, yeah, I like this. she on again. No wonder they were so good.
perfect. I tell you, and it's like I had did where you was at young. You came to young people with talent. That
Right. Right.
and you was in the audience, and you
Yeah.
had gotten one of my cards and stuff from there. And
That's
then
right.
I was working with a lady named Eva Lindsay,
That's
and I
correct.
was trying to reestablish the Victory Grill because
That's
it was
right.
closed. And so I went to Clifford, the guy I think he's passed now, John, what's his name that owned it? Well, I think he's
The
passed.
owner, yeah, the really old
Yeah,
dude.
yeah, the one that
Yes,
used to sit in
he's
the corner at
passed
every
on.
show I did there.
Yeah.
Right. Him, Eva, was working with the guy Clifford that used to be looking like the janitor all the time. Him.
Yeah.
He had gotten an attitude because they had gave me the keys to the lack, like they say. They had gave me the
Mm.
keys to this, and he was like, "I've been cleaning this place." Like, I'm like, dude, I'm not trying to change anything. And when I was in there in the back talking, that's when I heard you in the front, by the stage, coming through.
Yeah.
And you saw me coming through the door, and you said, "I was just talking about her." And that's when I came down, and we shook hands, and we looked at each other. And you said, "Nah, I'm giving you a hug." And I was like, "What?" And you was like, "I want to tell you something." And that's when you told me that you saw me at Young People with Talent, and you saw what I
Yeah.
said, and you said, "You ain't know not damn person in Texas. You could have got ran out of here." And you cussed everybody out. And you told them about their raggedy ass kids. That's what I was like,
You did
what did
though.
I
You
do?
did though. You had the parents all looking nervous and shit. The parents sitting there like, "Oh my god, is she cussing out my child?" Shit.
I got that show on
Po
video. I
kids
got that
was
video of that show.
man. Po kids was all jacked up. Man, they were all hurt. They thought they did. They thought they did so great. They thought they was just.
See, no, people were coming up to me saying that they didn't see when I had did Steve Harvey's concert there, and I
Mm.
produced it, and J Rock was my DJ, and she was set up on the stage. When we had did the show, I had held the audition. I had to dance in the first part of it because I couldn't cast the
Yeah.
girl a flip in the beginning. So I had to do the
Oh,
first part of the routine. But I had
that's right.
dancers from Austin that auditioned. So,
Yeah.
but they were not black. They were not African American. So everybody was up in arms. They wasn't even Hispanic because down there they were so their adaptation to actual progression, meaning this is real? Is this real? It says this choreographer, is this real? Instead of
Right.
coming, they would wait until after and say, "Oh man, I missed it." And it was like annoying to me because it was like I saw all his talent, but it never showed up in the auditions. My lines was wrapped around the
Right.
corner with not us. So maybe it been three or four black girls, whatever. So I think I picked it was two that was there, and the rest of them wasn't. So
Mm.
when they danced we did a show and we started with Welcome to the Color Club. So the lights went all the way off, and I was the one standing in the center of the stage by myself. So I freestyled, and everybody was
Yeah.
screaming and going crazy because I was killing that stage. So I was like going
Yeah.
off, and I started rolling. And when I rolled back, I did a back bend and a walk off. All my dancers came on, and they appeared on the stage, and all the lights came up, and they saw they wasn't black. They started booing them.
Oh.
They started booing them because it was
Oh.
a Death Comedy Jam type of thing. So they started booing them, and
Oh.
I was backstage like, I didn't never see nothing like that. Like I'm like, whoa, they really color struck in Texas. Back then, it was black, white, and Mexican. It was not.
Yeah.
They wasn't understanding, embracing nothing else. So
Right.
they booed, and I waited until my dancers came on stage, and they was in the dressing room. Like, oh my God, did we do that fast? And I was like, hold on. And Steve Harvey was on the stage telling his jokes, and I cut the lights on the audience. And I told him, I walked to the stage. I said, I'm sorry, can you give me that mic, please? And Steve was like, huh? Oh, I never had this happen before. I said, give me the mic, please. I said, let me tell you something. I sat out here, I called 3 weeks prior to me coming. I was all over the news. I was on the morning TV, the morning what do you call it? The news. They was hosting it, something in the morning often or something. I was on that.
Yeah.
They did it was like 2,000 flyers left all over 6th Street. I mean, I had a street team out there. Everything was people don't know what a street team is today. But I had a street team
Mm-hmm.
out there putting the flyers out. Posters was everywhere. They dropped them off at every school, every dance, anything. They dropped them off, period. I said, none of y'all was in the line. All these people in this audience, I ain't seen out none of y'all black faces in that line. So I said, you
Right.
can boo all day, but remember, you are booing an African American woman's work. And I got to stand in
Right.
ovation. And I got a standing ovation, and I took the mic
That's
down and I
that.
gave it to Steve, and I said, here you go.
That's that
And
New York.
he
That's that.
made 30 minutes of his comedy about me. Said, yo, he said, this sister's right, but she just interrupt my whole set.
That's one thing I like about New York, man. The people, y'all have no filter, and when it's something that go down, it everything got to shut down. We finna correct it right now.
Yeah,
We
it
ain't
was
waiting.
raw. I'm not waiting. I'm not. I was like, no, y'all doing this now, and we gonna live in the moment here. We gonna all go in this moment together.
Cause see, I remember when we was actually touring, and I remember we met Smack and all them, and the radio station was there, and they weren't gonna let me open. And you was like, you said he's going up, he's performing, and I said, well, what do you want me to do? And you was like, look, go back there, go get dressed, I got this. You just know you get ready, cause you getting ready to perform. And I'm like, okay. So in my moment, in my mind, I'm thinking, what is he finna do? Next thing I know, you come back, you got the club owner all freaked out, the radio station is freaked out, and I went up and performed. I'll tell you that much. I was up first, got up and did my thing, and I was like, man, that is crazy that she just went in there and talked to them people. It was instantaneous. It wasn't, and that's when I was like, this makes sense. This is how it's supposed to be. This ain't all this that politic wasn't gonna work.
It's not. It's so watered down. A lot of this stuff is just, to me, there's a beginning, the middle, and the end. Get to the point. Why do you keep? I don't understand what's all of this in the middle thing that you're doing. Back and forth, this
Yeah.
dance. It's a yes or no answer to the question. It's not. Oh,
Right.
well, maybe let me go ahead and talk to 15 partners I didn't have when we started. Now I got 15 different
Right.
people I got to converse with. Nah, that's not it. And that's when I knew that wasn't meant for me to do in the industry. I'm like, no, first of all, I'm not a lapdog. Secondly, I'm not getting ready to run around here and play with you while you playing and messing with my money. And that's how I looked at it,
Right. Right.
So to me, it was like, at this point, I done ran around 16 hours. I did all that for free when I was a teenager. Quit playing with me. And therefore,
Man,
that's not what kind of shows you were going to do.
Used to, man, my rehearsals, a lot of people, for some of the younger talent that may be out there in the world, my rehearsals were infamous. I mean, it's still to this day infamous, because I used to do my artists that way after dealing with you. You would, man, I remember getting there. Rehearsals could be maybe 2 hours long, maybe even longer than that, depending on what was going on. The dancers would be working behind me, working on what they're doing. I'm over here stretching, and I had never danced in my life. You had me stretching, getting ready to dance, learning routines. Then I had to sing, and then I had to sing while I'm dancing. And you had to make sure my air was right. So I had to like do it over and over and over and over and over again to the point where I was so exhausted that by the end of rehearsal, I think, and it helped because what people don't understand when you get out there with major artists, and this happened to me a lot, and you would always, it was a thing. My mom used to tell me this, and you the same one used to tell me the same thing. You go behind me, you go in front of me, you gonna get drugged. And the reason why is because my show was set up for maybe 2 hours. I could do a whole 2-hour show with my own music, my own material, and the artists that were major, they would come in there with this, 20-minute deal. They mad. They don't want to. They don't want to do the whole show because they didn't get paid or whatever, whatever situations it is. And so, man, it was just crazy because I was ready. You like, yeah, go out there and do another set. We pissing off artists left and right.
Because you had a full show. Why is this thing coming up here? Oh,
I don't know. Let me look and see what it's doing.
I got it.
Cameras. Okay, there you go. I think it's set.
Yeah, because honestly, I remember when I used to actually come down for the auditions of the dancers. You remember? And we used to have dancers coming in, and then they used to run out because they realized how much work it was.
Yeah, they want no part of that.
And then when we used to prepare, sometimes we used to come in there like 6 or 7, and end up leaving out of there at midnight. Like we would stay to the very last. Like if they gonna let us stay, we was staying.
Right. Yeah. We was in there. We was in the rehearsal studio forever. Man, that's why I said practice makes perfect, and we was ready to go. So after that time frame, like I guess after us going out and touring and doing all that stuff, which like I said, I toured with a lot of major artists and got out there and did my little thing, and then I started my own label, and then from that point, I know you were moving around, like you was doing a lot of different things. I mean, so many things I can't even remember. It was videos, movies, film, still choreography and all kind of other stuff. What were you doing after that time frame?
My training facility. I went back in '97 and launched it in New York, and I didn't know how it was gonna go. I didn't know, I was like, I just knew it was a vision, and I was like, I tried it out in various places, but I didn't do it consistently until I went to New York. And when I did it consistently, I had gotten I pulled up the contract with Valley Fitness, and when I did that, I had opened in 5 locations in New York. I was blown because I didn't think they were going to give me. I thought they were going to give me a location. They gave me 5.
Right.
So I was like, okay, this is crazy. So it like instantaneously just blew up after that, and it was so overwhelming. I had to hire people so quick that I was like, wait, I can't do this by myself. So I was doing that and still trying to work with artists. So it became easier to work with artists because all they had to do was come to the studio I was at. But then when it started getting so big, I had to remove myself from an open gym because it was starting to be groupie-ish. People was hanging outside of the glass to watch because they knew the times we came in. So I had to go into a private location. So I started doing that, but the training facility they had to do 10 to 12 performances a year. So my dancers were performing all the time behind artists, for commercials, we had vitamin water come there. We had my choreographers performing all over the place, So it was like we were back and forth. They were doing from I remember because they had an audition with Janet Jackson in my studio. I had set up the camera so they could audition right there because they was working with Missy Elliott. And that was a little conflict of interest at that time. So they was working with her, and then they was trying to get, elevate and do other stuff. And then they started working with like a whole bunch of different artists from there. So it was pretty good. It was pretty decent, you know.
And then, like, what other films have you been involved with? Because I know you've been with a lot of films, major ones. Yeah, see, Alzheimer's. Yeah, here we go.
You know how you was, you know how you just, you know how you just be sitting there in your mind going, what? I did?
Yeah, it's like, oh, did he ask me that? Oh,
Right. I mean, I know. No, I was actually looking at my accolades myself.
that's a damn shame.
Yeah, because
You,
it's like,
your resume is too big, man. That thing is
no,
like,
that's what happened to me when I went into. I got so mad because I tried to do like to work with this company, and this lady said,
yeah,
"Are you kidding me? Did you see your resume?" And I was like, really looking at her like she's stupid. I said, "I don't have a resume." She said, "Exactly my point. You don't need one." And
right,
I said, "Yeah, but I'm trying to work with. What? I can't just work with kids. Like I can't work with adults. I can't because
right,
I was starting an adult program." So I started
yeah,
like that, and I started doing like one thing I can say on a movie set, I can't stand them. I guess that's probably why I'm blacking them out.
why you
I
drawing
know,
a blank?
yeah, because it's like I worked with so many different producers. Some I don't even name. I ain't giving nobody no credit for certain things, but I worked with a lot of different producers. I know Spike Lee was one. I know I told you I worked on what's the name of the movie?
Was it Stomp the Yard?
No, you got served.
You got served. There you go.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't do that. I didn't do that. I got the calling for, yeah. I got that. I did the workshop and everything, and I did the whole thing for the whole I worked on oh my god, what's the name of it?
I love it. See, that's when, see, hey, when you got that much stuff that you've done in life that you cannot recall all of it, that is awesome. That is just all you're like, who did I? Okay, so Spike Lee. Let me see who else.
I tell you, I I'm really mad now because now you make me think about the movie. How she moves.
Yeah,
How she moves.
House
I did
Moves. There you
that.
go.
Yeah, I did the promo. I did the promo tour for it as well. My dancers went all around and performed from. That was a step and dance movie,
Yeah.
and one of my choreographers from my training facility was a body double for the actual actress that did the. I can't remember the
Okay.
actress name, but yeah, she was her body double, so she did all the scenes, and she was actually in the movie, and we did the promotion. I got the promotions for the whole movie. As long as I was a part of it, they was good with it. They just needed me to be a part of it. And then
Yeah.
we worked with like this guy named Culture Don and this guy and Beanie Man and different people. We started working with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I told you I can't remember everything is like yeah, but
It's all good. I start leading you into some of this because I know a lot of this. So it's like, yeah, even doing now you got my mind going because you ain't that crazy. You was doing a podcast for a while. I remember that you had started doing I think it was a podcast, it was like a radio show. It was a radio show.
I
Am
was
I right?
doing yeah, it was with Busy Being Sparrow.
Yeah. Shout out with Busy B, man, one of the original hip hop people.
So
Yeah,
we had a
man, Busy
time on
B,
that show.
man, y'all. Yeah, I was listening, man. Y'all was wild.
You on there as a special guest?
Yeah, yeah. I came on there and that was, man. Y'all was wilding though. Y'all, boy, y'all love it. That's too much New York for me, man. All y'all in one, can't have, yeah, can't have that much New York in one shot, man. It's crazy.
Reached out to me. I think he lives in. Well, they did live in Baltimore, but I think he moved to Vegas. I'm not. I know he's always down there,
Mm,
but he had reached out to see
yeah,
if I was going to come to Vegas this year. And
yeah,
because we used to be like every time we see each other, we supposed to celebrate our birthdays. But yeah, that show
Right.
was really, really. That show was fun. It's just.
Yeah. And then Cool Herc. I remember you was doing stuff with the legendary, the original.
That is something that is funny because I know people. Unfortunately, we got a lot of stuff going on. So he
Yeah.
had gave me memorabilia from.
Mm-hmm.
He had attended my shows on his own. I was shocked that he came. But I was an ambassador in the first New York dance parade. So in the
Mm-hmm.
parade, I was ambassador, but I didn't know that I was the ambassador along with him. I thought
Ah.
it was just dancers until they said, "Okay, you'll be on," and I'm like, "Wait, what?" And I saw him turn the corner, and I was like, "Wait, hold on, my head hurt." So, and then he was DJing, and then he said like this all loud. Listen,
Right.
nobody but CrazyCee and her crew is on my float. I don't care who you are. He told security.
Yeah.
That's all I want by me. And I was like, huh? I was so nervous I couldn't hardly stand on the floor. I was walking beside it. I was like, yo, I said
Man.
I exist because hip hop at back then saved my life. At 9 years
Yeah.
old, it kept me focused on what I wanted to do. So the fact that you created something, a tool that I could use in my teaching
Right.
and everyday life and function that way, I say, yo, I can't help it. I'm sitting here, I'm like, yo, if I die tomorrow, I'm good because I did what I set out to do. And so,
That's right. That's
right.
right.
So I
And
didn't. I thought
if
it
you
was
don't
going
know
to
who
end
Cool,
there.
if you don't know who Cool Herc is, you need to go and do your homework, and you need to really, really, really do your homework. If you love rap, hip hop, anything, you need to go learn.
Right. So after doing that, I thought I wasn't going to see him again. Then I did the New York Hip Hop Convention. We was
Mm,
special guests there. Everybody,
got you.
Beyonce was there. Beyonce saw my company dance, and so did what's her name? Uh, uh, Britney Spears. They was there,
Yeah.
and it was at Sony Music Studios. So it was like I was like, whoa. They was like, Crazy Two Productions in the building, and I'm sitting there like, why is everybody so hyped? And I turned around and Herc was right there. And he said, yo, I had to come. I told you I was coming to your performance. After I have never seen nobody bring a universal dance. You took hip hop to another level because you got all these kids from all these different countries and different places doing one thing.
Right.
And I was like, what? And he was like, yo, I had to come. I had to come. And when I tell you, they did not disappoint when they opened that show. They killed that show. Yeah, they were so scared when they
Yeah.
saw him. I was like, they were more scared to see him than they was to see Beyonce. They weren't worried about her mother. They was Mark
Wow.
Davis was like, oh my God, wow, the creative hip hop is right here. So
And then also tell me the connection between you, Boogaloo Shrimp, and the rest of them out there in California. You know that like you said, the Boogaloo
R.I.P. to Shabadoo.
Shabadoo.
Yeah, R.I.P. to him. That was a legend in itself. I was we used to just talk to each other for hours in comfort, just about a lot of things in the industry and just period.
Mm-hmm.
Good dude, like real good dude. And Michael Chambers, which is Boogaloo Shrimp.
Yeah.
Michael and I communicated a few times back in the day, and then we started talking again. Um, and he's doing a lot now, but he was trying to get back into dance when he was talking to me. He had
Right.
reached out to me for it. Oh, that just reminded me. You just made me see an audition. You just made me see something that happened. Um, I had the lockers, the original lockers,
Yeah.
come to my training facility, Fluky Luke, and all these different people that were the original creators of the dance styles we did. So
Right.
I had them, Poppin' Pete. I still talk.
Poppin' Pete.
Mm-hmm. He's still on one of the original
And,
Electric
and and let me
Boogaloo.
stop you so they you know how this go. Soul Train. If people watch Soul Train back in the day and they saw the lockers, if they knew a rerun from What's happening? That's what she's referring to is the original. You know, these are the dudes that really kicked off everything. You know what I mean? And Turbo and Ozone. Ozone is who she's speaking about. You know, because people are like, oh, who is that? They real names. You know what I mean?
The movie Breaking 1 and 2. If you haven't
Correct.
seen it, you need to get it. And also, if you have not seen, you're talking about from the original dancers going back. If you've seen Michael Jackson, I'm Bad.
Correct.
Poppin' Pete was right next to Michael Jackson, dancing there. He
Right.
did the choreography with them. On top of that,
right.
if you haven't seen, if you've seen, I'm gonna give them something to their generation. He danced with Mr. Wiggles right next to Janet Jackson at the Music Awards when they came out and she did the whole poppin' locking scene. That was Poppin' Pete and Mr. Wiggles on her side. They came out with her. If you don't, if I gotta give you more, he did Chris Brown new his video with him in the street. Chris was dancing with Poppin' Pete. He just did choreograph for Omarion's tour with B2K tour. He just did that recently. I speak to him on these tours, so I know exactly. Like right now, he just, I don't know if he was in Japan and Korea just last week. So I just spoke to him because we was talking about mental health because they see me posting a lot about industry, what happens to, like, this is what I don't like about our culture. Not to get off the subject, but to keep it a buck. What I don't like about our culture is you got rock and roll that lives on forever. You got country music that lives on forever. You got all these genres of music that lives on forever. But when you do, in our community, we decide to incubate, we decide to imprison, we decide to murder each other at a certain point. Hip hop is still in its incubated stage. It's only 50 years old. So for us to say, oh, so-and-so is old, we need to be smacked upside the head. You know, people still singing Elvis songs like it came out yesterday. And you can go to karaoke and hear Frank Sinatra songs like it's just, you know what I mean? Even Nat King Cole.
The artists don't get old. They artists
right.
don't get old.
But
they can still perform.
But our artists are called, I don't know what that is. I mean, they just too many words going on. I don't like that word. I don't, you're too, you guys were too educated back then. We need to be ignorant. That's
too many words going on.
You know, one of my students told me the words make their head hurt. So I said, well, what? Oh. You need a Tylenol because you hurt. Wow. That's why I don't like listening to Busta Rhymes because he makes my head hurt. Oh, okay. You know,
your vocabulary needs to be worked on.
But these are my students. I mean, seriously, like even listening to KRS-One, same thing. They said head hurt. You know, it's too much knowledge in their head. So it's like you're dealing with a generation that is this. This is it. Computer. You take this, they phone away from the computer, they dead. They don't know what to do.
Correct.
You know, and it's like we had to figure out shit to do. We put a rock to we took a rock and scratched the ground to make hopscotch if we didn't have no chalk.
Right.
We knew how to do stuff. We didn't have a jump rope. What did we do? We went and took mommy's clothing line off the clothing line and started jumping.
That's right.
We knew.
And then got a switch.
Right. If you didn't have weight, if you didn't have weight, we knew how to make stuff heavy to be able to lift. I'm gonna lift this gallon of bleach or whatever I'm gonna do. I'm gonna lift this. We knew how to do things to improvise. They saying, oh, y'all don't know how to. No, that's why there's so much suicide and so much things going on right now because there's no outlet for them. They don't have no concept. No matter how much we turn them. So
yeah, I remember you used to take clothes. What do you call them things? You put the clothes in your hamper or whatever it is. We used to take those and nail them up on with boards and make basketball courts when we was in Colony Park. We make basketball goals.
We wash clothes by hand in the tub. They look at us like, "What you mean you wash clothes in the tub?" Yeah, wash clothes in the tub. I put the
That's
whole
crazy.
clothes in there and had to wash them by hand
Yeah.
and put them on the clothing line
Yeah.
outside till they
Oh
dry.
yeah.
They had no
That's
clue.
real. That's real talk.
Right. And then, see, that's where hip hop. Point is, when it was a thing that we was trying out and trying to feel what was going on, it was like everybody wanted to jump into hip hop is about rapping. No, it's not. It's a way of life.
No.
It's a cultural way
No.
of life, and every state has their own culture and their own way of life. But
But
it's
we have the
honestly,
elements.
right. Honestly, it was a black and Latin Hispanic way of life. It was like how we grew
Yeah.
up in the inner city. And unfortunately, the poor whites that lived there too, they grew up learning
Yeah.
that way from us. But it
Right.
was from us. Don't get it twisted at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
it's like when you look at it, when it's like, I mean, I was always told, oh my God, why do you like that music? Why do you do this? And I'm like, but if I walked up to you and said, why do you like this and why do you like that, how would you feel? And they're like,
Right.
well, yeah, you wouldn't like it very much. You have to think about what I just said because that's what you did to me. So it's like, well, why do you want to
Right.
dance? Well, why do you want to do this? Well, why are you questioning everything that I'm doing?
Right.
And when you look
Just
at
let
this,
it be.
right?
So what are you doing like now? Like what's going on in the current your current life?
Well, it's weird. It's crazy because you know what? In CrazyCee Productions, I had launched not just the training facility. I had the Learning Institute. Then I had launched, I had my Party to Go part where we did a lot of entertainment, where people would have events and they would invite us out to, perform for their events and or set up
Mm-hmm.
their events and decorate it and style it and all this. And it started getting on my nerves because I'm not an event planner, but people wanted me to be because they like my concepts and my ideas. So I ended up like taking jobs on like that. Ended up finding a caterer, doing this, doing that, doing this and that. There's a lot going on, right?
Right.
So I launched package deals for each thing I
Mm-hmm.
did. I had themes and deals. Oh, matter of fact, I need to show you one of my books. I gotta show you that. I don't,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's upstairs. I'm gonna show you that. But I
We'll
have
put it in the description. I'll put it in
okay,
there when we load it up.
okay. So I would do people's events, and it would be like the booklet. I'm gonna show you. So we'll fast forward because you'll see the booklet, and then you'll see how
Mm-hmm.
things go. Well, I partnered with my partner in 2018 to to launch the catering part of what she does.
Oh, okay.
Right, right. So once we tried it out, we knew we was going to do something. We knew that something was going to happen. Well, when I get that feeling. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, okay, this is definitely going to be something. Fortunately, unfortunately, COVID hit. So,
Yeah.
fortunately and unfortunately. Fortunately, we got to see it in its incubated stage because of COVID. So we had to
Mm-hmm.
individualize the food, which made it a lot more personal and a lot more on demand because people wasn't going out to eat. So they was like, I
Right.
would love to have the dining experience in my house. So you know who I am. So as a producer, I had to mentally figure this out and be like, okay, is this going to be a thing or is this going to be just like regular catering, doing a big event? Da, da.
Right.
Well, it as I was doing like I was doing my privates, I still do privates and stuff like that. So I was doing privates. I realized that unfortunately I decided to X out of the school systems. Period. Like it just really,
Mm.
as you get older, your mindset is different, and I'm not taking nobody kids. I'm not gonna
Right.
deal with nobody kids bigger than me trying to jump in my face or, it's a different generation now. So
Right.
these kids go into school systems with the whole thought process of I'm not going to learn today. So you got to play with his
Yeah.
head or her head all day to figure out how to get them to learn today. I'm not doing
Right.
that. I'm so I was going around doing some consulting.
Mm-hmm.
I did it in two schools in San Antonio. That's when I
Mm-hmm.
realized, damn, that's what I need to be doing. I need to be able to condition these dancers. I don't want to. had a dance. Like I've never had a dance school. I've always had a training facility where they get in and out for 1 year. 1 year, and
Yeah.
then I manage you. If it select a few of them, they had to be a triple threat to me, meaning it had to sing, dance, and act. And then I'll take you onto the
Mm.
musical theater aspect. But if you just dance and you're a one trick pony, it wasn't more conducive for me to carry your career. But I would point you in the
Right.
direction of where you can dance at to elevate your
Mm.
career. If you want to be just a
Gotcha.
dancer, or you want to be just a singer, or you want to be just an
Mm-hmm.
actress. So I started opening the doors for that, and I started producing all my little shows and plays and stage events and stuff like that. So where I saw that going, I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. I started doing that. Then unfortunately, COVID hit, and then my partner and I we had to sit here and really focus on what we needed to be doing. And as I was trying to
Yeah.
do me, I started seeing more in the catering. Like, wow, it's
Yeah.
really something that's great. And I didn't realize how good she really was. You know, at it,
Mm-hmm.
I had to see. Because she was like filling it out herself. And
Yeah.
once we started doing it, then it started going. And I was like, oh, this is a thing. Nobody
Is
was.
it
Is it
online?
online?
Is it
Is it
now
Yeah,
now
online
online
available?
yes,
available?
it is. Yes, it is.
Okay.
And
And what's it
and
called? One more
it's
time.
Bodie's Soul Food Kitchen.
Got you. And we're gonna put that in the description too, because I want people to go there and check that out. And because you're gonna try to bring this. Is it? Because I know you're in Baltimore right now. People that don't know, so you can order it, but can you order it all over the country, or is it just only in Baltimore right now?
Oh, what the way it is now is no, she can deliver food out of state, but it would have to be freeze dried. Like it would have to be,
Right.
Right,
Right.
right.
like that. But the way we do it now is she has the Bodie Soul Food Kitchen catering. We do that. She's done events for 150 people to 150, 75, 10, 20. What we're doing now, like we just did a Valentine's for two different couples. And,
Okay.
Okay.
we set up, which I'll send you all of that. So you'll see it because I
Yeah.
videotape and record every occasion that she does. So you'll see her work in progress and you'll see what I do as her manager and her sous chef. So I make sure the table's clear. I decorate, which is where somebody else, your right
So
hand
we
comes
bringing
in.
this back to
Where,
Austin?
where your right hand comes in because the decorating part, me and her get ready to sit down and talk.
Yeah. So we gonna bring this here? Are we gonna bring it back to Austin, or are we gonna stay? Oh yeah. Okay.
That's definite. That's definite.
So you trying to get here? You trying to come back?
Yeah, I'm the goal at the end of the day is peace and tranquility, and everything I do works for me and I don't work for it. You know what I mean? Like
That's right.
we both put a lot of time on this earth right now, and as I said to her, I love when she loves what she's doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's easier for me to sell. You see what
That's
I'm
right.
saying?
That's right.
You already know how it is. So it's like
Yeah.
I can't sell an unhappy like you let me just throw this on a plate. Here you go, bitch. I can't no.
Eat
I
it.
just run. So for me, she makes it easier for me because I
Yeah.
look at it and I'm like, wow, every time like I really take myself out of the whole equation of it. A lot of people don't understand business is business. And if you
That's
know
right.
business and you know how it works, you can make anything work if you know business.
That's right.
Right.
And for me, that's all I ever know. So when I have to apologize to people because they used to always say, "God, you think of everything as a business deal." I'm like, "Well, why not?" And then I realize who I'm around. So I'm like, oh, okay, of
Yeah.
course you're not gonna look at it like that. You're looking for a job. I forgot. You're looking for just over broke. I get it. I understand that. That's what you're programmed to believe. But at the end of the day,
Mm.
if you don't believe in yourself, who else is supposed to believe in you? So
That's
for
right.
me, for me, watching her is is like it feels like watching her do it reminds me of me on the dance floor. Reminds me of me when I'm
Okay.
creating something because she'll
Right.
be blank And then this whole masterpiece comes out of nowhere. And I'm sitting there
Right.
going,
Just magic happens.
yes. And her customers are looking at her like, whoa. And that's why I be like, yeah, I'm so proud to say I'm her manager because I can see their face. You know, and I'm like, wow, I be
Right.
wanting to know what they're thinking at that moment. But they be eating like, you know, and then the dancing starts, and, and then, I mean, like,
Black people dance when they eat. If you don't know,
right, right. But the
when it's
thing is,
good.
right. But the thing is, she do all races, and they act like that too. Like it was so funny. I'm gonna tell you, it was so funny. She had this group of college guys. They were like, they're not young. They was in their 30s and stuff, but they were like eating, and he kept turning. One of the guys kept turning around, eating and looking at like at the like this way while he was eating, and I was like, "Is everything okay?" And he said, "She just made me. My parents lied to me my whole life." And I said, "What?" He said, "What I've been eating my whole life, my parents lied to me. I never knew you could put seasoning on this."
Oh Lord,
And it was just
I'm
the
not
way
even
he was
going.
eating.
That's just crazy.
Right. And he looked and he was just so blown at her food. And then every time, what I love is every time I go to try to take somebody's plate up, they damn near want to lick it. So they're so mad at me for wanting to take the plate. And a couple of ladies like, "I will
That's
stab
why
you
to
with this
bite
fork
your
if you
ass.
take it. I will stab you with this fork if you take that lobster from me." I'm like, "Oh, okay, never mind. I didn't know you were still eating, you know." But it's like a drop in the. So that is right there made me see. It made me see that this is, I said, God, I get it, how you align things, and I
Right.
get, it's like sometimes I'm bewildered a little, because I've
Right.
never been around somebody that is equally yoked in their own field. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
It's always
Yeah.
been me. And then there they
Yeah.
go, they somewhere over there, like your kids or something in the
Yeah.
corner. And take your ass like that.
Right.
That's how it's always
Yeah.
been. So meeting somebody that can do their own thing to stand on their own is a blessing for me. You know.
Well,
So
see, and
that's
that's the reason why I did the podcast, because I wanted to also give you your kudos, and people that don't understand it, uh, you did so much for Austin just in itself, just even with the Victory Grill and for some of the dancers, and you had auditions for people, you had schools, you was teaching people. I mean, it wasn't just me that benefited from you. It was a lot. I mean, you did a lot in Austin to help the hip hop culture, and even with just business, and a lot of these people that you helped, even the kids that you were training, you would take them to schools, and they would have rehearsals at their schools. They would have performances at their schools and all that good stuff. And it was so awesome that you would do that. And we're talking little kids. We're not talking about like grown up ass kids. You had little kids, grown kids, middle, and it was just a blessing. And a lot of those kids, I know that they still today thank you for just being helpful, and they have no idea who was teaching them. I really don't think they were the little ones. They probably they looking up now like, oh my God, this person's famous. Who was teaching me? And before I go, see, you said a couple of people's names, and I had to, and we're not gonna gloss over none of that. MC Light, that's one of my favorite rappers of all time, and so I just wanted to say shout out to her, and then and also Cecily and Lisa. See, yeah, we gotta give them props, and
I'm gonna send you a clip. I'm gonna send you a clip of
yeah,
them a few weeks ago. I just did probably like a month ago. I just did I had to burn some music for them because they haven't seen
yeah,
each other in years. Because one lives in Atlanta and the
right,
other one lives in New York. And
yeah.
they got together for an event and they did a little performance and sent it to me. And I gotta show you. Like I was like,
Man,
oh
them
my
two
God.
girls is bad. Man, them two girls are bad. And if you don't know who they are, they're the ones that actually choreographed Missy Elliott's videos, and also they were on, was it Dancing with the Stars, or was it the other one, the other show? So yeah, see, they were on there. They were judges, celebrity judges. Man, those
Yeah, they
man, them
worked with
girls is
50 Cent, G Unit. They did
that's right.
Mario. Oh my God, they did Daddy
And see,
Yankee.
you was dealing with them when they were young, right?
Little girls. Yep. Yep.
See, it just keeps on moving.
hmm
It just keeps on moving. But you know what? I know you busy. I got to get back to my thing over here, but I know you definitely got to get back. But man, you know, I really appreciate you coming on. I had to, we doing this icon thing, and you are it. You are icon in the hip hop world, but you also are our icon here in Austin. And so we had to make sure that we got you on here and everything. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
You know that. So I'm gonna tell everybody, like I always say, peace to everybody, and y'all have, you know, a wonderful day out there in the world.
Yeah.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Y'all, once again, don't forget, it's me, your girl, CrazyCee, in the place to be. Peace and love, y'all.
These boys are hard to tame, can't do nothing love it, man. Cause we Austin, Texas, marching, stepping, hands on our weapons, cause boys be flexing. Deadly in the game like a pin 'em off the chain. The boys are hard to tame, can't do nothing love it, man. When I be flousing while they ousting, and them boys gon' hate. Some boys be popping trunk, but I be popping tailgates. The trophy truck, shit, no book, I'm about